So, when you enter into a process of healing your emotional triggers and really work on it, you will always have relapses. It's a given because what you're working on is a deep pattern. If it was not a deep pattern, you would have gotten rid of it long ago. But something that's been stamped into your inner being, the energy field of your body, a samskara, we would call it in yoga, it's a deep groove that has repeated itself for a very long time and has been put in place when you were like an open sponge, just ready to be programmed. And in yoga, we would even say that you might very well have had this pattern with you from a former life and is what determined your current life circumstances. So, but that doesn't mean it can't be healed. It just means that it takes patience. And more than anything, it takes doing something different. And the only way we're going to begin to catch ourselves in the act of, I'm about to do that thing again, is to stay really grounded in the witness. And the witness is the higher part of ourselves. And it's the part of us that does start to emerge and become stronger and stronger the more we work with ourselves, especially mindfulness practices, um, meditation, body scan, breath awareness, yoga, anything that puts us squarely in the moment where we're not just being whipped around by the mind and the stories. We'll start to come alive, come online, and there's a part of us that'll be like, uh-oh, my breath is getting weird. My body's contracting in just that place, the chest, the throat, the stomach, wherever your samskara is located, that's where we'll start contracting. And you will notice that if you're vigilant. Now, what are things that will make it harder to notice that that's about to happen? I have to say, alcohol is probably number one. Sugar is not helpful either. But in terms of the most like commonly acceptable things that we ingest without maybe thinking so much about it, alcohol for adults, sugar for children, and sugar for adults as well. But if you feed a child sugar, too much sugar, often that child kind of goes ballistic 20 minutes later. We know this. And we also know that if someone has too much alcohol, they might act out. But the truth is, it doesn't actually take that much. If you are about to act on a trigger, and that in our program, we've talked many times about how acting out on a trigger is either lashing out, numbing out, or checking out. That's typically what we do when we're about to be triggered. And the one that you really want to just get the kibosh on right away because it involves people other than yourself is the lashing out. As soon as you're lashing out, now you're in this dance and it just hardens the samskara. If you drink alcohol, and that's such a tempting thing to do because, here you are, you're feeling triggered, you're feeling upset, and it feels like what's going to help is if I can just communicate to this other person how they needs to be different or they need to be different. And then you might think, well, I really shouldn't. I'm trying to not communicate when I'm triggered. So I'll just chill and have a glass of wine on the porch. That sounds so innocent, but just that little bit of alcohol can be enough for you to be like, well, actually, now that I think about it, I think I'm just going to go ahead and send that text or make that call. And when has that ever worked out? Really, I work with so many coaching clients who are working with the triggers. I have worked through my own triggers in a really deep way for a very long time. I'm probably the most triggerable person of anybody. So there's not a case that I've had in terms of my coaching clients that I don't know that flavor. So I can safely say from having watched a lot of students and clients and myself that reaching out when you're triggered and trying to fix somebody else, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And that doesn't mean you can't try again, and you will. And that's what we might call a relapse. And it's really not so different from an alcoholic that needs their fix. There is a certain fix that you get from then reaching out and spewing and telling somebody your peace of mind. I highly encourage you to watch some of Eckhart Tolle's videos on the pain body. I think he has just coined that phrase and in such an excellent way describes what it is. But don't change to another video. Keep watching me, and I will tell you what it is, and then you can go research him after. The pain body is almost like an entity that has become separate from oneself, like a really shadowy side of oneself that has kind of morphed into this wounded part of ourselves that wants to stay alive. And how does it stay alive? Well, by getting some airtime, by gobbling up some of your life force, some of your presence. So that part of you that starts to come up when you're not present, when you kind of check out a little bit, be it alcohol or something else that makes you check out, then suddenly that part of you can come up and really justify the lashing out and have a total fit, whether it's in writing or verbally, or even just internally, which is better to just keep it internally, but to really watch and say, this is not my true self. This is something that's taking over. And it's really what comes to mind is like the Michael and the dragon. If you've ever seen the image of St. George and the dragon, where you keep the dragon underfoot. So the dragon is our own shadow side, our own double, our own darkness that has morphed into the separate entity that wants to be, yeah, get some airtime. And your job as a spiritual practitioner is to develop the witnessing, the divine you, and be so present with that that you can see when that side of yourself is about to act up. And and keep it at bay. Don't let it rise up and take you over and really hijack you. I would say that any crime ever committed is never committed by anybody's higher self. It's always committed by the shadow self, by the wounded self, by the distorted shadow side, double. There are many words for it in many different philosophies around this. But we all know that part of ourself that can arise. And we need to be really clear on what keeps us strong in our resolve not to engage in these trigger dynamics, and know what are the substances that I need to be careful with, or this can take over, this can take me over. And it gobbles up your life force. It lives on your precious light, your precious life force, your prana, your chi is now being consumed. I'm getting that image of Voldemort from Harry Potter when he first incarnates to some degrees on the back of the head of this teacher. I can't remember him, but he's wearing this turban, and then Voldemort is like parasitically attached to part of this other teacher that has allowed him in, and he takes his life force, and the other one can't even do anything when Voldemort is busy sucking his life force. And I think that any of these fairy tales out there that fascinate us, they do so because they speak some truth. So, don't be Voldemort. Don't let your pain body come in and hijack you. And the work is to contain that and to restrain that. And then transform it. Then there's many ways to talk about that. Like, what is that force? And um, is it simply a dark force that you expel from your being, or is it part of you that gets transformed back into the light? Well, I don't know. I just know that it doesn't get to hijack you, and it doesn't get to send that text, and it doesn't get to make that call, and it doesn't get to enter into some big drama conversation while you're in that state. The higher self in you gets to take over, detach from the situation, and help you calm down so that you don't wreak havoc on your physiology and on another person. You don't want to be abusive toward another person. And when you unleash the pain body on someone else, it's abuse. And you may also have been abused and feel like that's justified, but really it's not, because then we're just in a cycle of abuse, and we want to step out of that and not partake in that. Join my next Heal What Hurts course. Look on my website, mariatoso.com. I have Heal What Hurts 8-week courses coming up. regularly. And that will take you through a process that will give you the tools that will enable you to develop the witness, work with the triggered energy in the body, and become emotionally sovereign and not depend on someone else to do something for you to feel okay. The okayness is you uniting with your divine self within. And it's a fantastic process to do in a group setting and also with private support from me, private sessions with me, where we really go into the energy field of your body and start clearing out what sits there. And I have that kind of breath happening when I'm clearing something out, which is constant. I mean, these things accumulate constantly and have to be cleared out constantly. So it's really a lifestyle to clear out the triggered energy so it doesn't become this volcano. So there you have it. I would love to welcome you into one of my courses, and I would so love to support you out of being under the spell of your triggers and very much out from under being hijacked by your pain body.